The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Patty Teal, and today we have a true icon of real estate. It's Dave Dubeau. Dave helps real estate entrepreneurs to scale their portfolios by attracting investors, partners, and their capital instead of chasing after it. I love that idea. He created the Money Partner Formula process that raises six figures or more in 6 weeks or less. I think you heard me right, 6 weeks or less, by getting the right investors coming to you. Dave is the CEO and founder of Results Enterprises, Inc., the Money Partner Formula, which offers a proven strategy to help clients find their ideal investors and quickly raise the capital they need to grow their real estate portfolios. He is also a passive investor, best-selling author, sought-after speaker, and he has a brand new podcast that he's going to tell us about. So welcome, Dave. So nice to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Patty.
So I know we have to save time to hear about your podcast. I really want to know about it, but I just want to start first with you telling us how you got to where you are today. How did this journey of yours start? Did you start by being a realtor by itself before becoming a coach? How did it evolve?
Yeah, very good question. So Patty, I've kind of been around real estate my entire life. I grew up, the family home was one of a sixplex that my one unit in a sixplex that my grandfather and my father built. Then my parents split up. My mother was actually a real estate entrepreneur as well as a full-time school administrator. So she built up a portfolio of about 50 doors while, working and raising a snot-nosed kid, yours truly. And then, I didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but I got into real estate investing after I lived overseas for a number of years. I actually lived in San Jose, Costa Rica for quite some time, dabbled in real estate down there, did a couple of what we would call pre-foreclosure deals. And then when I moved my Costa Rican family and myself back to Canada in 2003, I had to figure out what I was going to do because I didn't have a lot of cash. I hadn't been able to sell my business in Costa Rica, so I didn't have a lot of cash, didn't have any credit, and was starting all over again from scratch in a brand new place. So I saw one of those late night infomercials that said, you too can get rich in real estate with little or no money down. I said, perfect, because that's what I got. So I sent away for that course by a fellow and put together by a fellow in Florida, which is where you're based as well, Patty, and did 18 deals in 18 months was my first little kick of the can. Took some time off from real estate investing, got back into it in about 2010. And that's when I started actually raising capital by failing miserably at the beginning and then kind of figuring it out as I went along. And then these days, I kind of realized a while ago, I'm not that great at dealing with tenants or toilets. So I'd rather invest passively with people that know what they're doing.
Well, it sounds a lot more fun what you're doing than dealing with tenants and toilets, that's for sure. But that's amazing that that infomercial inspired you to learn about real estate and real estate investing, and that you closed 18 deals. Did you say in 1 year?
In 18 months.
18 months. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So I never actually worked as a realtor. I just worked as an active real estate investor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I love so much about your teachings, and I only found out about them recently as I was preparing for the show, but I have taken some courses about investing in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I loved about what you said is get the money first. So many of these people say find it, you find a good deal, you'll find the money. Well, that's a little nerve-wracking, and you're not for that at all, and I like that.
No, I'm not for that at all. In fact, I'd like to smack whoever came up with that expression. I'd like to smack them upside the head because they have done so many people a disservice. I think when it comes to the chicken and the egg, which comes first, the money or the deal, the money always comes first because, as you said, Patty, very wisely, if you've got the investors, if you've got the capital lined up first, then you can go negotiate deals harder. You can close on deals faster. You're going to have much more confidence when you're going in and you're dealing with sellers. So I think you need to focus on getting your money lined up, get your, what I call your investor ducks in a row, and then also be focusing on the deals, but try and get the money lined up first.
Yeah. And the other thing that I immediately gravitated to with your advice is you don't have to be dialing for dollars. You don't have to be schmoozing everywhere you go. You don't have to make people scared to be with you. That
Right.
is not the way you have to sell. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Well, all of this experience comes from me doing it the wrong way, Patty. So when I was first trying to raise capital, I tried all that stuff. I had no experience at dialing for dollars, but I had this, and I also listened to that stupid advice, find a good deal, the money will find you. So I had this deal land in my lap, but I didn't have any investors lined up. So I tried all the old school stuff, pick up the phone, dial for dollars, cold call people. That didn't work for me, just massive rejection. That's all that generated. And then I'd also heard, hey, get out there, turn every conversation into a real estate conversation. Again, that didn't work for me because at the end of the day, here's the challenge. When you're an active investor and you've got a deal on the go and you desperately need that capital to do that deal, doesn't matter how good the deal is, the desperation is going to ooze through every pore in your body. And I'm sure, you've worked with a lot of realtors, a lot of people in the industry. There's this saying called commission breath. So when the other person can just sense that you are desperately looking for a sale or a commission, or you need that capital, doesn't matter how good the deal is, it actually repels that other person. So if you're able to go in, if you're able to talk with people, better yet, if you're able to attract potential investors to you, getting them to put up their hand and say, hey, Patty, I hear you got a deal. I hear you're doing real estate stuff. What's that all about? Tell me more. I'd like to find out more. That conversation is a complete 180 from us trying to push ourselves on the other person. Does that make sense, Patty?
It makes total sense, and it's so much more comfortable. I don't think anybody wants to talk to that hard salesperson. They always talk about the car salesman who's chasing you around and you're just trying to get away.
Those poor
So
car salesmen get such a bad rap, don't they?
they
But
do
we
get
know
a
what we're
bad
talking
rap.
about. You know what you're talking.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So I love that. So tell us about your brand new podcast
Yeah.
and the format and what kind of things people are going to get out of listening to it.
Yeah, Patty. Well, thank you very much. So the podcast is called the How to Raise Capital 101 Show. All right. The How to Raise Capital 101 Show for real estate investors. And this is wherever you listen to podcasts. And this is a brand new podcast. And our entire focus is showing people how to, even starting from scratch, how to raise six figures in a matter of weeks and even seven figures in a matter of months. And again, this is designed for real estate investors who have perhaps self-finance their first few deals. They've run out of cash, they've run out of credit, they want to expand, they want to scale, and they want to start using other people's money, but they'd rather avoid doing all that yucky stuff that I tried and failed at in the past, dialing for dollars, networking, schmoozing, all that kind of stuff. And instead, they'd like to attract investors. They'd like to focus in on their ideal prospective investors, get off on the right foot, and start raising capital the right way very, very quickly. That's what it's all about. And again, it's called the How to Raise Capital 101 Show. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts, or we got a website for that as well. It's called raisecapital101show.com.
Well, I think it's going to be a very, very popular show. There's so many people that are realizing that real estate is a great way to try to build your wealth. And so many people are interested in investing at this time. Now, you mentioned that it's for anyone who's interested in investing, or is it for an experienced investor, or do you feel like you cover enough that it can help anyone?
Well, no, it really is ideal for what I would call an active investor, somebody who's got at least one or two deals under their belt. They know what they're doing. They've got proof of concept that they can invest successfully in real estate. And now they're looking to expand by bringing on investors and their capital. So it's not for absolute newbies that haven't never done a deal before. Go out, get a deal done first. Then this podcast will make a lot of sense for you. It's also not for the big time syndicators that are looking to raise tens of millions of dollars very, very quickly. This is for the mom and pop real estate investor who's just getting started on their journey to raising capital. That's who it's ideal for.
Oh, wonderful. So how many episodes have you done so far?
Well, this is launching in August, and the first
Oh,
9 episodes are actually going to be a mini course on what I call my money partner formula. So we're going to go through that in depth in those first 9 episodes. And then after that, it's going to be a weekly podcast, primarily where we're going to be taking a much deeper dive into each one of these segments, as well as having occasional hot seats and occasional interviews as well.
ooh. And so tell me about those hot seats.
Well, that's where we're going to take a struggling investor who's having challenges raising capital, and we're going to put them on the hot seat and help them to actually get things going and raising capital the right way.
Oh, how wonderful. I
Yeah,
know I really love to watch real people, talk to an expert like yourself and get that advice. And usually it can help so many other people as well.
that's the goal. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds fabulous. Now, you are an experienced podcaster. You have an older podcast as well?
I do. Yes, it's called the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. We've been going since 2018. At this point, I think we're at 300 and something episodes. I lost count a while ago, but yeah, it's been going for quite some time. And that's more of a general interest, all about real estate type podcast, not specifically focused on raising capital.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So very interesting.
Yeah.
As I was watching some videos on you online, I was interested in the shifts that you see that people need to make to be successful. Could you address that?
Yeah, for sure. So there's some really important shifts that I think people need to make when it comes to raising capital. And the first shift is on who you're focusing on as your ideal investor. So a big mistake a lot of people make, Patty, when they're first starting to raise capital is they think everybody and anybody with a pulse and a checkbook could be a good investor. And nothing could be further from the truth. So here's what my recommendation is. In order to raise capital, the quickest, easiest, and safest way, you want to laser focus in on people that you have a pre-existing relationship with, people who are already in your network. You want to, in other words, leverage your network. That's what the focus is. So when we're working with our clients, because that's what we do, Patty, we have a boutique marketing agency and we help mom and pop real estate investors get all this stuff set up. So when we're working with a client, we will create a target list of approximately 150 to 200 people that we laser focus in on that are in their existing network, friends, family members, coworkers, business associates, etc. And the reason we do this, Patty, is very, very important because we need to step back for a minute. If you want to get somebody to invest $50, $75, $100,000 or more with you, that person needs to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you with their money. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Right. So if you're going out to a complete stranger, like so many people do, and they're posting on Facebook and they're doing all this kind of stuff, you're going out to strangers, that's a big uphill battle. First of all, these people, they don't know you, they don't like you, and they certainly do not trust you with their $100,000. So that's like pushing a big, big rock up a very steep hill. On
Mhm.
the other hand, when we focus on people that we have in our network already, when you do this right, these people already know you, they already like you, and to a certain degree, they already trust you. Maybe not with 100 grand just yet, but we've got at least 2 out of those 3 things taken care of. So that's what we laser focus on. The other thing is you have to be very, very aware that as a mom and pop real estate investor, it's actually, now I don't claim to be a lawyer nor a security specialist or anything like that, but this is my understanding. It's actually illegal for us to go out to the general public and try to solicit investment from the general public unless you're licensed to do so, like a stockbroker, a financial planner, somebody like that, or you've got an offering memorandum, or you've got certain exemptions with in the States, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Most of these things are very difficult and expensive to do. So what we want to do is we want to focus on people that we have a pre-existing relationship with. That's the safest, fastest, and easiest capital to get. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Oh, yes, because in addition to being not very effective, you could also get yourself in trouble, it sounds like.
Which we don't want you to do. That's
No.
for sure.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no. So any other shifts?
Yeah, another big shift. We've touched on this already. So many people wait until they've got a deal and then they go scrambling for the capital. And
Mhm.
that's a big, big mistake. So when it comes to, raising capital, I personally believe that you should always be marketing for investors. So you want to be marketing for deals, obviously trying to find deals, And you also want to be marketing to find investors at the same time, and you never stop. So a big challenge I see is people will have a deal on the go. They'll scramble, market like crazy, try and raise the capital for that deal. They may or may not succeed. And then it's crickets until the next deal comes along. And then it's scramble. So it's this roller coaster. Much better to keep going, keep steady, keep consistent. So when we work with our clients, we talk about constant, consistent, edutaining communication. That is the key to getting top of mind and staying top of mind with your ideal prospective investors. So don't wait till you got a deal to start marketing for capital. Start marketing for capital right now, even before you got a deal. That's even the best way to do it. Get your investor ducks in a row and then never stop. Does that make sense, Patty?
I just love it because, as you said, you're not really selling, or you don't feel like you're selling anymore. People are coming to find you because they know you, they trust you, and they think you're coming up with some pretty darn good deals for them.
Exactly. So that brings up a really good point as well, Patty. So when we're working with clients, when we're doing the marketing, we're never marketing a specific deal to try and get people to invest. What we are marketing about is the concept of investing in real estate. We're creating curiosity. We're creating interest. We're getting people to put up their hand and say, hey, Patty, that real estate thing that you're into, that sounds really cool. I'd like to find out more about that. Then what we do is we get them on a one-on-one conversation, walk them through a very, very effective slideshow presentation, a visual presentation, and get them enrolled that way. So our marketing, the whole goal of the marketing is not to sell the deal. The goal of the marketing is to sell people on a meeting with you, and then that meeting sells them on becoming an investor with you. Does that make sense, Patty? So it works so much better than just trying to schlep deals on people.
Right. And as I understood it from your website, you actually work with investors who need to raise capital to get their pitch down. I'll call it a pitch, even though maybe that's not the word you use anymore, but to put a video together, to put an email together that feels almost like your Christmas card, letting people know what you're doing and staying in touch that way.
Exactly. So Patty, yeah, that's what we do. Our whole business is to help these mom and pop real estate investors get everything set up that they need to make all of this happen, all the way from their database of prospective investors, the CRM system, websites, slide decks, marketing materials, electronic newsletters, video logs, blog posts, webinars, all of those things, all of those techie type things and marketing things that most folks aren't that keen on, aren't particularly good at. That's what we take care of for them.
Could you share a story, a success story of someone who came to you, used your help, and was able to grow their own business under your tutelage?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite stories is about a couple that we started working with. This good-looking couple, Jamie and Leslie. When they first came to us, they had 2 properties in their portfolio: a single-family home and a little house with a suite in it. So they had 3 rental units. They're off to a good start, but like most people, they ran out of cash, they ran out of credit, they kind of hit that wall and they were stuck. So we started working with them. They were kind of nervous, but they did it, and they within their first 6 weeks, they had the first investor on board with $120,000, and that got them into their next deal, another single family home with a suite in it. And then they just kept going. They kept working this. They kept getting better at it. We kept working with us. And within a year, they went from 3 rental units to 47 rental units in their portfolio. Yeah, absolutely mind-boggling. Leslie was able to quit her job, which was a big goal. She didn't really like punching the clock where she was working, and become a full-time real estate investor. Their second year, they went from 47 doors in their portfolio to 88 doors in their portfolio, started getting into multifamily properties. That allowed Jamie to quit his job. So now the 2 of them are working in the real estate business full-time. And then they've just gone absolutely spectacularly well. So last time I was talking with these guys, they're based out of kind of a northern region. They started traveling. They discovered Curacao in the Caribbean. They fell in love with the place. With some investor partners, they bought a kind of a rundown property, turned that into a luxury Airbnb, bought another one.
Wow.
Last time I heard, they were working with a group of investors buying a small resort in Curacao, and they're going to turn it into short-term rentals as well. So talk about creating an ideal lifestyle very, very quickly. That's what these guys have done.
That just sounds like a dream come true. That just sounds so wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, if someone, I know you mainly help people that have already got their start, but for
Mhm.
someone who hasn't gotten their start, but they're very interested, what would you recommend they do? Maybe they don't have the money themselves, but they're well connected. What would you say their starting point would be?
For investing in real estate, for getting
Yes.
investors on board. Yeah, well, there's a few
Yeah.
different things people can do, Patty. First of all, bottom line is you've got to get educated on exactly what you want to do. There are 1,000 different nuances to investing in real estate. There are so many different strategies, so many different ways to do it. So you need to get crystal clear on number one, what strategy you're going to focus on, whether it's single family homes, the Burr method, multifamily, self-storage units, mobile homes, whatever it is, right? There's so many different ways to invest in real estate. You have to pick one to really focus on, I would suggest, and get educated about that. Then the second thing is pick a market. Pick a market. So figure out what you want to do and where you want to be doing these kind of deals. Now, if you're just getting started, if you've got the ability, I highly recommend that you self-finance your first deal.
Ah,
Like
okay.
put your own money into the deal, put some skin in the game. That's going to make you pay a ton of attention. That's going to get you experience. You don't have to do a bunch. Just even one deal under your belt is good. Now, if you don't have the money, if you're not able to do that, then here's another suggestion. Then I'm going to suggest that you put in some sweat equity into somebody else's deal. Okay. So that
Oh,
could be actually, you could do one or two things. So if you've got some money, but not all the money, you could be a part investor in somebody else's deal who's actively doing what you want to do, where you want to do it. And part of the deal could be, hey, I'm going to invest in the deal, but I want to pay to play. I want to learn as I'm going. So that you actively get involved in that deal, either with your money and or with your time and your effort. So if you're putting in time and effort, you help somebody else out on their deal, you're probably not going to get 50% of that deal. You might only get 5% of it, but that's okay. That's going to get you experience. That's going to get you skin in the game. That's going to give you a case study that you can use and you can point to and say, people ask you, have you done this before? You can say, yes, I was involved in this deal and here's how it worked. And this is what we're going to be doing more of. So make sure you get at least one deal done first before you go trying to raise capital from other people.
hmm. How did you get so wise?
That's the reason why I have so little hair and the little I have is gray.
No, I love your advice because I myself took a course not that long ago about investing, and it was really not what you're saying. And it was very uncomfortable. Like, really, I have to pick up the phone and call strangers or actually go knock on doors to people I have never even met before. And don't worry about the money, just find the deal. It was like,
Oh my goodness.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, just the opposite. And it didn't sit well
It
with
didn't
me.
sit
I
well with you.
didn't think I could do it, but that's really what they preach. So it's so refreshing to
Yeah.
hear your approach.
Well,
Much more
it just
comfortable.
kind of makes sense. Like you got to think about it. We got to sit back. We got to put ourselves in the shoes of our prospective investor. Why on earth would somebody invest with us if we don't have the faintest clue of what we're doing, right? I mean, we got to be upfront.
So true. Uh-huh.
Now, if you are able, like it does happen from time to time, say you've got a very affectionate sibling, parent, uncle, aunt, somebody like that, who says, you know what, Patty? Yeah, I'll finance your first deal. Well, that's great. Go for it. But I would suggest that you probably want to be extra generous with that investor for your first deal. So, where most experienced investors might do a 50-50 type split with their investor partners, if you're just getting started and somebody else is putting all the money into the deal and it's your first kick at the can, you might want to give them 75% of the profits and you take 25% or 80-20 in their
Mhm.
favor just to get that first deal done. Does that make sense, Patty?
Yeah, sure does. Thank you. So I want to make sure that people can find your information online. I
Mhm,
know you talked about your podcast.
mhm.
And again, the name of your new one is How to Raise Capital 101.
Yep. The How to Raise Capital 101 show.
How, yes, show. And what about your website? Because it looked like there was a lot of information on there as well.
Yeah, the website's moneypartnerformula.com. Moneypartnerformula.com.
Mhm. And on moneyformulapartner.com, there's various things that people can sign up for there.
Oh, for sure. You can get a free copy of my book in exchange for your name and your email address, Money Partner Formula. You can check that out. You can Check out some free training that we've got there as well. You can take a look at some of the case studies of the clients that we work with. You can book a call if you'd like to discuss working with us. All of that's available at moneypartnerformula.com.
Thank you. That is wonderful. And I'm just wondering, for your marketing to have people find you, what do you find is the best way to do that? Is it through your podcast or other ways?
Oh yeah, we do lots of different things, Patty. So the podcast is one of the ways. Doing joint ventures with other people in the real estate space is another way as well. Participating in different kinds of promotional activities. All of these things work very, very well for us.
Yes, because you have so much information to share. So you don't have to be salesy. You're just sharing this wonderful information. So I am, it's no doubt that it's very, very effective for you.
Thank you very much, Patty. Yeah.
You have been a great guest, and I love what you're doing. I love your approach, and I hope people will listen to the podcast and visit the website. Thank you so much, Dave Dubeau.
Thank you, Patty.
Bye now.